It's like, yeah, that's because I wiped out the guy's mind so he wouldn't, think about it was any possibility of you. That it was you who caused the accident. But anyway. And now here we're introduced to Nightcrawler, also known as Wagner. And of course his power is teleportation. He is mad awesome. I love him very much. And actually I did a matchup on Comic Vine and it said I'm 100% compatible with Nightcrawler. He told me I would go out with him in a heartbeat. I mean, seriously. And now here we're introduced to the two main people of the only two people of the Brotherhood. Raven Darkholme, also known as Mystique, this is not her real form because she's a shapeshifter. And of course Todd Talansky, also known as Toad. Yeah. But the only thing is, when I remember first seeing this, I didn't know much about the X-Men, like I said before. And I didn't know much about Mystique either. I didn't know who she was when I first saw him. I'm like, okay, who the heck is this person? But when this happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a mutant too? I mean, what creature is that supposed to be? I mean, that doesn't look anything earthly at all. But anyway, now we're back at the Institute with, the professor and Storm showing Kurt around. Now, Kurt, of course, is very unsure of himself in this. And of course, in this version of him, give him the image inducer so he'd be able to go around, in high school, act and, at least look somewhat normal. Because he's going to have to be in high school, because if he's going to get a public high school education, they're definitely not going to allow him looking like that. Or the fact that they even see him, they'll be like, oh my gosh. But anyway, they had an image inducer in the comics, so I'm really interested. And then when I found out, I thought that was very interesting. But the reason why they got rid of it was because, Wolverine saying to Kurt in the comics that he was being a coward for, using the image inducer to hide who he really was. So Nightcrawler stopped using it. Anyway, now we're going to lunchroom we're at lunch period during Bayville High. Now, I don't know about you, but this is unrealistic. Absolutely unrealistic. Well, for two reasons. One, it's lunch period. I mean, when in my school it's lunch or flex. Basically, either you have lunch or have flex during that period, or you have class during that period. It depends on what you have. But anyway, people usually go about the hallways to the bathroom or to the locker. They go out the cafeteria, they wander around and whatnot, so they probably would have seen this happening and be like, what the heck? They would have tailed off of that. And number two, if that didn't happen, if it happened to be some kind of deserted hallway, there'd be security cameras, capturing all this, but then again with lunch period, they might, but then again with Mystique being the principal and everything, he disguises. She probably could be able to cover over have rules that students can't go out there or threat of detention, and plus, cover up for the security cameras. Anyway, here we're introduced to Cerebro, which is the thing that helps locate, which is the professor uses to help locate mutants. Now, it only locates mutants if you uses their powers. Now, that part is very interesting, is that he knows that's God's calling, Either, well, he has telepathic powers, so technically he would be able to know. But then second of all, he probably could have just known because Cerebro detected a mutant presence, so he thought that Scott might have noticed it and thus called.
Yeah, I know. So should I bring him in?
And now, this version of Cerebro, I mean, it's not bad. I don't mind the keyboard and such and all the other buttons. It's just the headpiece I don't really like. It's just chunky. It's probably in the works or something. So it's just like a very, very, looks very chunky on the professor's head. And like later on, they get more streamlined and they have its own like little dome, circle dome thing, so it makes it a little bit more, you know, professional looking. Anyway, now we're here for the test of Toad. Now, as you see here, he's hopping along. And now, here we're introduced to Storm's costume. Now, I have to, while we're on this subject, I have to admit that Storm is, in this version, this is like one of my most favorite versions of Storm. Because of many different reasons. One, because of her hair. You know, her hair is more, you know, more fit with the times, you know. And of course, her voice. I love her voice. I don't know who the voice actress is, but I really love her voice. Now, this is, of course, with me saying the best, this version of Storm. Now, the reason why, now, for other people who like the TDS versions and the Wolverine, the X-Men, I hate to say this, but they don't cut the par. Especially the X-Men TDS version. Now, the X-Men TDS, for reasons, for reasons more because of the series. First off, the dialogue is crappy, the animation is crappy, and the whole action plot and their fight scenes are crappy too. And plus, you know, it's just the way they say things is just unrealistic, you know, and, you know, and the whole thing, I call the lightning and everything, is like, oh, come on, just strike them, you know, this is not Japan, you know, but, anyway, as you see here right now, with Nightcrawler and Toad fighting, this is one of the first major fight scenes in the whole entire, you know, personal fight scenes. As you see, Nightcrawler's personality is reflecting off of Toad. You know, so.
Stargedy is indeed gifted. He could be one of us.
Sometimes, Professor, I feel your good heart blinds even you.